Hey, what's up, everybody? Everybody's talking about Katt Williams going on Shannon Sharp podcast. Where he talked about everyone from Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac, Kevin Hart, and even Joe Rogan. So he goes on to say, Joe Rogan doesn't want me on his platform. Joe Rogan doesn't want me on his show. Even we all know Joe Rogan's the biggest podcast in the world. He doesn't want me. He just wants to push out those garbage comedians that aren't funny. Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, Mark Norman, Joey Coco Diaz. Those 6 comedians are some of the worst in history. But hey, Joe's going to push out his friends. And Joe Rogan responded by saying, I love Katt. He's one of my favorite comics, and I'd love to have him on. We talk about him all the time. If he's down, I'll make it happen. And some people are saying, well, Joe's only doing that because he knows he'll get attention, he'll get views and likes. But again, if you have a platform as big as Joe Rogan, I guarantee you, if your friends are doing something similar, like a podcast, a YouTube channel, stand-up comedy, whatever it is, if you're getting 1.5 million views every video or 10 million views every podcast, whatever you're doing, I assume you would definitely help out your friends. I guarantee you, if I had 10 million subscribers, I would be offering, hey, my friends could come on to my show, they can talk, they can get views, and they can get more successful. But again, is Katt Williams right by bashing all these people and telling the truth? Or is it the fact that some of the stuff he's saying is so wild that it might not be true? Is it the fact that Joe Rogan is a big fan of comedy? It's just the fact that he supports his friends, and that's why he promotes his friends. He pushes them out, like Mark Norman, these comedians. I think Joey Diaz is one of the most funniest comedians ever. He says the most random, raunchiest stuff. Some people might think he's the worst stand-up comedian since sliced bread. But just because I like somebody doesn't mean you have to like them. And just because Katt Williams finds this guy to be not funny doesn't mean other people don't find them funny, right? Because Andrew Dice Clay is one of the most hilarious comedians ever. Some people think Kevin Hart is one of the funniest comedians ever. But some people think Katt Williams isn't funny. Some people think Joe Rogan isn't funny. But for me, I actually put a poll up on Facebook, and I asked people, out of this list of comedians, who do you guys think is the funniest? And as of today, it has 67 comments, 16 thumbs up. And I'll put a picture up right here so you guys can see exactly what comedians I put in this list. And out of the list that I put together, most people said Bernie Mac is the funniest. George Carlin, but the most people said Bernie Mac and George Carlin and Richard Pryor were the funniest. And this dude says, hands down, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and Andrew Dice Clay are a second. Some people said Bill Hicks, but mostly people were saying that it was Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor and also George Carlin. Not many people even said Chris Rock or Kevin Hart or Eddie Murphy or Dave Chappelle, which is pretty crazy. But again, people have different opinions on what is funny and what is not. So let me know what you think of Joe Rogan's response. Was it good? Was he right? Or is Katt Williams is crazy? Because he could have been saying, I think he's really funny. I would love to have him on, but it just hasn't worked out yet.